Are you ready?
Yep.
Indeed.
Roll the intro. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a brand spanking new episode of Bitcade. My name is Ryan A. Moore. Joining me, like always, on this magical adventure is...
Sticky.
And also featured in the last, 4 episodes of Bitcade, but he's here again. Tyler.
What's good?
There he is.
Hey, how you doing?
Pluvio himself. In this episode, we are going to be talking about Dr. Disrespect possibly having a new studio in the works. Game of the year so far, and a canceled Power Rangers game. That's all going to happen. We're going to talk about all of those. And then for those that are new to Bitcade, what we do is we talk about each topic. Topics get broken out in bits. So in this episode, you will get bit number 1, and then bit number 2 the following week, bit number 3 the week after that, and then the full episode the week after that. I guess we'll just get into it. We'll just jump into this stuff. All right. This is coming from PCGamer.com. Dr. Disrespect is starting his own game development studio. I read some of this to the guys already, so I'm going to kind of just speed right through it, but also to refresh them. This is a studio. This is written by Steve Mesner. I hope I said that name right, but there we go. The studio's purpose is to partner with, quote, mega influencers and build their dream game. By the way, if you guys have comments on things, just stop me, and I'll just pause and we can discuss it. Dr. Disrespect is looking to launch his own game development studio, according to a job posting listed on the Champions Club website, which I believe is his website. It's a major, but in some ways unsurprising move for the streamer, considering he used to work at Call of Duty developer Activision as a level designer before deciding to spend his life wearing a wig and sunglasses. The unnamed studio, however, does have one surprising thing about it. It makes games by collaborating with different, quote, mega influencers. Right now, only a studio head position is listed, presumably as, I don't know why Marty is barking right now, so if you hear him, that's why he's doing it. He's literally just...
Shut up, Marty, you fuck.
Presumably as a first step towards outlining the project, but the job description does give some insights into how the studio will surprisingly function. Quote, the studio plans to forge a partnership with a select of mega influencers and then work closely with them to launch their dream gaming title, end quote. The ad reads, quote, those gaming titles will either be incubated and developed or partner/co-develop with existing indie games developing and launched as mega titles, end quote. A lot of games already make influencers a major part of the marketing strategy, so joining forces with influencers to design and promote games from pre-alpha to launch is perhaps the natural next step for those businesses arrangements. The application also mentions esports and monetization, which gives some major clues as to what type of game Dr. Disrespect is hoping to create. Free-to-play competitive shooters, anyone? Yeah, I definitely think there's more to this, and I can go into it a little bit more, but I'll pause here. I definitely think it's going to go shooter, because it's Dr. Disrespect.
At least to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He also worked on another game helping on a map, right?
Call of Duty. And then he also helped make the Rogue Company. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the map for that.
And he has a skin for a certain character.
Oh, okay. So he's already taking those next steps into doing that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. I mean, he has experience, like they said, doing the Call of Duty level design. I don't know how long he did that for and which Call of Duty it was. Tyler might know, but...
No, I'm not too keen on that one. I wish I was. I can...
Yeah, because... I don't think it was for multiple titles. I think it was just the one Call of Duty, if I'm not mistaken.
He worked
on
I don't know.
You
But he
worked
had
on
to be
what?
there. He worked on Advanced Warfare, but it says he had to be there for a while because he was promoted to
Oh, he
level
worked on
designer and
Advanced
helped
Warfare.
create.
Oof.
Yeah, it says he was promoted to level designer, helped create many of the multiplayer maps for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. So he had to been there for a little bit to get promoted to level.
From what though?
I don't know. He has to be in the scene at least though. He didn't working on level design is probably like a fairly new thing for him, but he at least was on the scene for a minute. You don't just get promoted out of nowhere. I feel like.
Yeah.
The article continues on in saying, and this is the words of them. So, I can't help but be skeptical. There's a potentially big gulf between a quote dream game end quote, connected by a popular Twitch streamer in something that's actually playable, fun, and commercially viable. Many of the FPS influencers I follow are very vocal about the super vain technical shortcomings of games like Apex Legends and PUBG, which could lead such a project to overwhelming emphasis these aspects. It'll be interesting to see how such a project courts or originality or sorry ordinary okay project courts or ordinary players. For some reason I kept getting caught up in the middle of that word, while presumably catering to tastes of elite performers. Then again, Valorant is particularly developed by some former CSGO pros and turned out pretty good. There's also the listing issue of Dr. Disrespect's sudden of and mysterious ban from Twitch last year. During a time when game industry was grappling with widespread stories of harassment and abuse, Twitch never speculated why it suddenly terminated Dr. Disrespect's Twitch account, despite him telling us in an interview that he had done nothing to violate his multi-million-dollar exclusivity deal with the streaming platform. Though rumors abound, no concrete information ever surfaced explaining what had actually happened. Weeks later, he switched over to streaming on YouTube, where he's been quietly doing his thing ever since. If you dream of making, quote, mega titles, end quote, with, quote, mega influencers, end quote, you can check out the job application here. And that was from Steven Messner from PCGamer.com.
Okay. Do you guys think that Twitch will allow his game to be on there?
I would think so, yeah. If it's super popular, they're not going to deny a paycheck.
He's not even allowed to be at like tournaments that Twitch is going to have.
Yeah, but that makes sense. They already banned it from the platform, and those tournaments that Twitch runs, they run those, so that's all fine and dandy. But in terms of like keeping a game away, I don't feel like they'll do that.
I don't know, man, because like the thing is too is that if he's on somebody else's stream in the background, even somewhere, people can get banned.
But that's his direct presence, not a property.
Yeah, I think what's going to happen here is like how that was starting off. The job application, I guess, is for like a lead head. I think he's going to find that person and wants to just be connecting with him all the time. But it's going to be like sort of a Disney sort of situation where you got like he's the main guy. He's maybe the head guy and everyone's looking at him. But he's not really a part of the project anymore. Like he's going to get a guy, hire him, and then that guy's going to hire a whole team, and then he's probably never going to touch it unless he's playing the actual game. He's probably flipping a lot of the money, but like I don't know. I mean, he might touch a lot of that too cuz I mean, this is a little bit of a different scenario as well because he has experience in making FPS type stuff already. So it's not like something it's totally out of his realm where he's just like, I have a lot of money, let me just spend it on like random people so that I can go and make the game. Like he could theoretically do it.
Then?
What was that?
Like, do you think he'll go independent and just fund it himself, or do you think he'll get?
I think he's gonna probably open up a studio. I think that's like what
you have to,
main thing is. But
you
go
have
ahead.
to prove yourself. So he would have to be independent at first, and then if he makes something that's quality, then somebody could possibly pick him up.
Yeah, I think what they're gonna probably do, make a concept, get it off the ground, and it's gonna be him flipping most of the bill, and then probably try to sell it to somebody. I'm not saying like an EA or an Activision or a Microsoft or a Sony, but like maybe somebody else publishing it, like THQ Nordic could probably do it, or something like that, or 2K maybe even, but like really subsidiary of 2K. But yeah, I think he'd probably try to sell it, like get it off the ground, and then he'd sell it. But he's probably not making any profit until way down the road.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, he's got the money for it. He's got the support for it. I mean, his fan base alone crossed from Twitch to YouTube to go and watch him. So they're gonna those
I
people.
bet you all of them are gonna get the game.
That's true, and not to mention, he still has a lot of friends that are still over on Twitch, like Tim Tapman and Nick Merckx, I believe, are both friends with him. I know Tim is.
Yeah.
So it's like you could easily just get him to play your game as a friend helping out, and then like boom, there you go. So if the game sticks and it's good and it's fun, you could get a PUBG sort of situation. Like PlayerUnknown created a game type in, what was it, H1Z1 or DayZ or one of them, and then created his game, and then that type is now transcended into games like Fortnite and Call of Duty and Apex. So it's like you could do it. There is a track record of this being a thing that could be successful. Can Dr. Disrespect do it though, with controversial past? Because we didn't know who the fuck PlayerUnknown was. Like, we didn't know who he was. We know a lot about Dr. Disrespect. So
this is true.
Are people?
I mean, controversial past is that's still like, I feel like untrue, because I'm not like really defending him, but nobody truly knows what he got banned for.
That's true. The other thing is,
Yeah.
like, are people
going
to give him that chance though? In this day and age, will people just look at Dr. Disrespect and go, "Nope, I know what he's about. I'm not playing that game." Like, people are already doing that.
I'm sure there will be some people like that, but
I mean, people are already doing it with Activision and Blizzard. I mean, sure, a little bit of a higher situation for them, but it's like,
you know what's going on there, though.
Yeah.
No one really knows what he got kicked off for. It's more so like ignorance. He really hate the guy. I mean, if you hate him or you don't like him, don't want to work with him, it's either one of two things. I'll go back. It can't really be ignorance. It could be being preemptive in case like the situation with Twitch is really bad, so you want to avoid that, so you have to cut him out. But like I said, no one really knows. So I can't really say like, oh, he's an outright dick. I think the one rumor that Ashton told me about a while ago was like he tried to use like a fake mixer deal for leverage on Twitch.
That was a rumor,
yeah. That's what I said. It was a rumor. Nobody knows why he was treated as
tried to leverage the deal. I mean, he was pretty open about like the opportunity to do that. He's like, if I were to go to Mixer, it'd have to be a deal of a lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know a lot about Dr. Disrespect. I've just kind of in the last year and a half gotten into a lot of the Twitch personalities just because we're on the platform and it's starting to, you kind of want to look around and see what other people are doing and get ideas and how to make you better. So that's what I've been doing. And so Disrespect kind of left before I was able to do that because we were still on Mixer at the time. So, and I wasn't really streaming. So now I'm streaming and now I got more stuff like to kind of build off of. But so I kind of missed the train of Dr. Disrespect and how he streams stuff. But I know that like I think it really just comes down to I think this has a lot more leverage into good than it does into bad, where he has the smarts to do it. He knows how to do it. He knows how to code. He knows how to design. He has the money to do this. He has the fan base already to support a game right out of the gate. Essentially free beta testers, because he's just going to give those keys away. It's like, hey, you want to play the Dr. Disrespect game? Like, right, all you got to do is just watch my stream and I'll give you guys keys. Like, that will boost his view count, and it will help YouTube out. And I'm sure there's some YouTube deal going on with him. And then he's going to get more and more money into supporting the game. So, which I think is what he's going to probably do. He's probably going to dump a big majority of his money right now into the studio, if this is something he's really passionate about. So,
yeah, I don't know, like, I'm trying to think of like if he'd want something super realistic or if he wants something like kind of like crazy.
mm-hmm.
Like Something like a
yeah.
more along the lines of like a split gate versus something along the lines of like Valorant. You know?
Yeah, I mean, of the games that I know he's played, he's obviously played Warzone. He rages at
Yeah.
that.
He hates that game. Yeah.
He's also played what was the other game that we said earlier? The one he designed the map for.
Road Company.
Rogue Company. He plays that. He's played PUBG in the past. I've seen PUBG highlights of him. So it could go BR. It could go third-person shooter, which is what I think he's probably going to go for.
You think he'll go third person?
I think he will. Yeah. I don't know if well, maybe first person because I'm thinking of like all the highlights and stuff. But he's really good at like sniping and stuff. So I think he's gonna go more BR than anything, and try to get something going there. But that I have no idea what it takes to make a battle royale, especially throwing 100 people and random computers into a one server. Who knows how much that costs.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know, or it could be just 50. Could be like how you were saying. What, not Splitgate, but or not. What did you say? What was the other one? The Ubisoft one? Didn't you say the Ubisoft one?
I didn't say the Ubisoft one.
Oh.
I mean that's Hyperscape.
Hyperscape. That's what it was. So there's Hyperscape. How many did Hyperscape have?
I think 100.
100. And then what was Apex? How much does Apex have?
Apex
50?
is 60.
60? Okay. I'm thinking more of that at range. I can see that. 60 in a map. I mean, I don't know if he's playing Apex, but that could be work. So how do you guys feel, though, about this influencers are having a say in the game? You think that could go good, or do you think that can go bad?
Well, his is more than a say in the game. His is he's getting one made.
But no, his whole goal is to also have mega influencers, quote unquote, be involved in the pre-production of the game. So like he might talk to Tim, and he might talk to Nick Merckx, and he might talk to Cloaksy, and he might talk to like all them to help make the game.
But there's
before
nothing
the
wrong
game
with that
starts.
because if you think about this, like that's how Call of Duty like treats certain things, or like any like game that has an esports. They sit down, talk to like certain pros, get what they feeling, and then kind of mold something out of like the pros do. It's like the same thing. It's not like they're actually sitting here building an ideal game. They're just he is consulting them, getting a couple ideas, and probably mash a couple things together, probably take some stuff out. He's not going to take everything. It's not like these people that he's talking to are going to flat out build a game. He just wants a basis to jump off, which is not bad at all. If he's talking to like those people next to like Tim and them, I think that's fine. Tim doesn't have like this outrageous, idea what a game should be. Tim is pretty, like calm body, know what they like and whatnot. So it's not bad. I feel like even though Dr. Disrespect carries on the way he does, he's not going to be contacting somebody like Jake Paul to help make a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's asking people who actually game all day, every day, do it for a living. You can some of those people don't have opinions I agree with, but I believe even though I don't agree with the game that comes out or as a result of that, I feel like it can be very sound in how it's executed.
Mm-hmm. Ashton, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's pretty helpful. I mean, you always look for a studio that's kind of really in tune with its community, and then he's basically saying that. I mean, people who are into the pro gaming and all that, like on the lower end, content creators that aren't necessarily amazing, winning tournaments, but are playing the game all the time. I mean, that's pretty they can be voices for a big part of your community as well. So I think it's pretty important to have content creators as part of at least as a resource to use for making some of those major decisions, just because they have a voice. They're literally unpaid community managers. I mean, that's basically what they are, if you look at it that way. So I think it's pretty cool. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes sense because I mean they're most.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I also think it's a pretty ingenious idea. If Tyler was just saying, was the other companies like Activision, Blizzard, and all them are trying to they talk with the pro gamers before they from the last game into helping create the next game, because they're like, all right, so this was Modern Warfare. What did you like about it? What did you not like about it? And then they go back and they go to the drawing board and then they make changes, or maybe they're like, nah, we'll keep that, and then in the next Call of Duty they're gonna do it. But it's more of just like consulting. It's not really much of not saying that this isn't what that is, but it's more of a just like on a scale of 1 to 10, what did you think about this specific thing and this specific thing? And they already know that what they're going to do, but they're just more of like, did you like that? Do we need to tweak that? We're not going to make changes based on what you say, but we're going to do something. Whereas I think what Disrespect's probably going to do is more of like the big thing right now, now that Activision Blizzard is in the conversation right now, is anti-cheat. Guarantee that is going to be the first thing that all these like Twitch streamers I almost said mixer streamers. These Twitch streamers and these YouTube streamers and these Facebook streamers are going to probably say is like, get an anti-cheat right out the gate. Just get that shit done. Fix that. When you got that done, then start doing this stuff, because that is the major thing I think a lot of people are dealing with, especially PC gamers, and which is where Disrespect is normally at. So I think having a streamer that not only deals with this on a daily basis, working on a game, could create one of the best multiplayer games of all time, because he's just going to have a different perspective than a dev that sits behind it. No offense to the devs that sit behind the desk, because if it wasn't for the devs that sit behind the desk, we wouldn't have a fucking job. But I'm just saying, it's a lot different of a perspective of things when the dev is not on Twitch getting stream sniped, having to deal with live confrontation, whereas he could easily implement something that could have something that affects that situation. So it could be interesting. It could be very interesting.
Yeah, but anti-cheat would be the last thing that happens, because you can't really have an anti-cheat without anything to test your anti-cheat.
That's very true. But like, I mean, that I would assume that would be one thing that they would try to work forward towards. I
feel like everybody kind of wants it, kind of needs it. I can't really tell. Like, I mean, as we sit here and talk, we all know like Warzone doesn't have it. Warzone doesn't have the best. But I can't really sit here and believe that Warzone never wanted, or Activision never wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And honestly, it's like when I sit back and think about it, even though like it sucks ass that it's like this, you gotta think about it like this: they've never done a crossplay Call of Duty until this one, right? So that, with that being said, what I'm getting at is that these problems arose, and they didn't know how to handle it. But then I feel like the conversation comes out with your company, who's like well equipped. You have titles under your belt. I feel like this should be no issue to you. But humans are humans. Having to tackle this problem, I would like to give them benefit of the doubt and just say it was probably harder than wanted it to act.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too is that it's not like it never wasn't an issue, because the only reason why it's so big now is because crossplay, like, it's affecting console players now. Because back in 360 days, the only cheating we had to worry about was modded controllers, which they were able to end up. That's a way easier solution than.
That's what I mean. It's not on this grand scale anymore. Like back in the day, cheaters weren't running around this crazy, because they either were capped very quickly, and it wasn't. You gotta think about it like this, right? It went from your console provider being in charge of handling the cheaters to the developers themselves. That's something they're probably not used to handling, because when it comes to cheating on Xbox, that's Xbox's job.
Well, but Call of Duty's been on PC for a while.
Call
of Duty's been on PC for a while.
Yeah, I know that, and then we're handling that on their side of things, And also, I think when you think about that, still, I think it then becomes and when it comes to Steam, I think Steam was still handling bans like you would on the console. And them having their own launcher now is like, now you have to do that. Because remember, Warzone isn't on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Battle.net.
Steam is not in charge of banning people. Warzone is in charge of banning people. So now you have to handle it, and you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how. I don't know the logistics of how they would have to handle the anti-cheat stuff. It's just weird how some games that you wouldn't even think that would have cheaters have anti-cheat. Like, and they all run almost the exact same thing. They're from different studios, but they run the same, like Easy Cheat, which is the one that a lot of people see when they load up the PC versions of these games, like Fall Guys. Has Easy Cheat. It's a little bear.
Dragon Ball Fighters does.
Dragon Ball Fighters has that.
Naruto, Boruto, Shinobi Striker has it.
Tom Clancy's The Division 2 has it. They run the same anti-cheat. I don't know why.
But you
that's not a
realize
deal.
what's the thing in common with all these?
They all run through a
Accessible through
launcher,
Steam.
but I mean they run through Steam. Most of them run through Steam, except obviously The Division runs through Ubisoft's thing. But
Can't you still get
I think you can get maybe The Division on Steam.
I have my Steam open right now, so I'll check. So
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there is more risk when you have it on Steam and people are a little bit more lenient into like, okay, well, I don't want to like get my account banned. But then you got Fall Guys and people were doing all sorts of shit in the beginning of it. So that's why you can't have names. We can't have names on PC because everyone ruined it. You can have it on PlayStation 5. You can't have it on Steam. But yeah, I don't know. I think going back to the topic though with Dr. Disrespect making a studio, I think this definitely lands more into a player what would have happened. It opens up the scenario. What would have happened if Player Unknown had a large following on Twitch and had a butt ton of money right out of the gate?
Yeah.
That's what I think this is going to happen with. And
I think it'll succeed. I kind of feel like, you know, if the other thing too is like I'm trying to think of like the long-term aspect of all this. It might be kind of difficult because I mean if they're doing game studio, you know, to do all this, that's cool and everything, but like at the end of the day, what happens when you have made a really good game and it can just support itself for a long time? Are you just focusing on that one game, or do you make another something else? Like,
true, because then
You know?
you do land into really what Player Unknown got stuck with, is that's all he's got. Like they've even dropped his name from that fucking game, so it's like it's now just called PUBG Battlegrounds, which is redundant, but it is what it is.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean that does open up a question. Is that what he wants to do? Does he eventually see himself as his next business adventure starting to wean away from Twitch, use his gain from Twitch to then launch this studio, and then to eventually just create his own gaming studio? I mean, that could be his dream. That could be like his whole thing was like, oh, I've always wanted to do that, but I've never had the money to do that. Boom, there you go. You got a sustainable income from YouTube, and by live streaming, getting tips and getting subs, and now, you know, it could easily help him launch his dream if that's what it is.
Yeah.
But lots
Good.
of, you know, we might circle back to this in the upcoming days. This was only this news broke about 4 days ago is what the article was written. So we'll see where Dr. Disrespect goes. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting road.
Yeah.
Any final words?
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. We were literally learning it as we were doing it, but then as soon as everyone kind of got into it, we had a pretty good group of people
Yeah,
like
it
trying
was,
to pick
it was
games.
pretty good. There's some great team names we
There
got
are
going
some great
on.
team names. Yep. Some people got some very creative minds, as they say.
Put down in the comments your favorite team name.
Yeah. What was your